Hi everyone, thank you for checking out the second episode of Therapy is a Drag. I interviewed someone who's very near and dear to me, my sister, and we had a really fun time talking about her experiences in therapy, as well as some of the not so great parts of therapy. And we ended with some pretty insightful conversation, and I'm really excited for you guys to get to watch. If you haven't done so already, check out the first episode of Therapy is a Drag where I interviewed my friend Micah. I'm going to try to put it right here, and if it's not there, I'll have it linked in the description. If you want to be a guest speaker on Therapy is a Drag, please fill out the Google form in the description or in my Instagram bio, and as soon as I get that, I'm going to message you to schedule. I'm really excited to share this project with you guys, and I'm really excited for this episode. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can DM me on Instagram or you can leave them in the comments below. Thank you again for checking out the second episode of Therapy is a Drag. Alright, we're gonna restart. Goose.
Just cool.
Okay. Well, hello, thank you for being here and joining me on this episode of Therapy is a Drag. I'm so happy to have you here, and I'm excited to learn more about your experiences with therapy. Just a reminder, the things that you disclose during this interview are going to be on the internet forever, so please don't share anything that you don't feel comfortable having everyone about you know and your experience. And Ramen, you need to leave. Alright, so first things first, what is your name?
My name is Marikin, and I am Jolene's sister.
Yeah? Yes,
Yeah.
you are. Yeah. And what are your pronouns, Marikin?
My pronouns are she, her. And
Thank you.
my friend here
Hi,
is
Stella. Hi, Stella.
She's joining us. Her pronouns are she, her.
She looks so unhappy.
She always looks unhappy. Right.
She's so cute, though. And are there any other
Needs therapy.
She does. She does. Are there any other identifiers that you want to share with the audience about yourself?
Not today necessarily. Yeah. I don't know.
That's fine.
Yeah, I don't know what you mean by identifiers.
I mean, you being a sister is an identifier. You being a dancer is an identifier. You wearing a wig is an identifier.
Well, I learned something new today.
Yeah.
I am a sister. I am a dancer. I am a girlfriend. I am a former teacher.
Yes, you are.
Former psych major.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. It's funny because we both kind of ended up as psych majors by the end of our college career. It's not where we started, but it's where we ended.
Exactly. Yes, I'm very proud of my degree hanging up on the wall over yonder.
Nice. Yeah. I'm proud of mine too.
I know. That's been a year.
I know. Almost exactly a year, I think, since I graduated.
Oh, that's crazy.
Time flies.
It does.
Time flies. Well, let's jump into the therapy questions. Are you currently in therapy?
I actually just recently graduated from therapy.
Yay!
Yeah. But I've been in therapy on and off for the last 11 years. So 2014 was when I started. That was my first year of college. Mm-hmm. And I've had about 3 to 4 different therapists since then, maybe more.
Nice. How long were you with your most recent therapist?
She was with me probably for 2 years, so nice. She got to know me pretty well.
Very nice. Mm-hmm. And did you like that therapist? Obviously, if you made it to graduation with that therapist, you probably liked him quite a bit.
Yeah, I really liked my therapist. She was fabulous. She is fabulous. She's still practicing. And she just kind of let me lead in therapy, which was really nice. It was nice to have someone to vent to, but also someone to kind of remind me that like things are normal. Like when you have a mental illness or multiple mental illnesses, multiple diagnoses, a lot of times it's hard to distinguish between what's normal, like that people, I mean, I don't like using the word normal, but what's typical for other people,
Yeah.
and what is a symptom. So that
Yeah.
was that I really learned about, and I'm still learning about.
Very nice. Yeah, our norm is different than everyone else's norm, so it's nice to have someone to help you figure out on your own what your baseline is and what might not be on that baseline.
Exactly.
Were there any aspects or attributes about your most recent therapist that you particularly admired or appreciated?
I really liked how honest she was with me.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, that she was able to help me tease apart what was typical and
Mm-hmm.
then what was maybe something that it was something needed to be monitored.
Mm-hmm.
And I really liked that she kind of felt like a friend, but I
Fun.
knew that that therapist line was still there, but it
Yeah.
just felt like telling a friend something that happened in my life
Mm-hmm.
and gently giving advice. I
Mm-hmm.
really liked too that she was like, not that I'm giving you advice, and then she would proceed to
Mm-hmm.
give me something kind of
Yeah.
like advice.
Yeah.
So I did really appreciate a lot of things about her.
Good. Yeah, it sounds like you guys had a really close relationship. That's awesome. Uh,
Yeah, she did say that I was one of her favorites, even though they're not supposed to have favorites. So that was
my psychiatrist says that I'm her favorite, so we have that in common.
I can see why. We're like A+ therapy clients.
I guess. I mean, look at us. We have matching wigs. That's like the
Oh,
best part about therapy is that you get to wear wigs.
I know. This
Um,
is something I never knew I needed.
exactly. Here, I have some controversial questions.
Okay, spill.
Were there any things, attributes, aspects of your most recent therapist that you did not particularly appreciate?
Um, that's interesting because I actually just came to the conclusion that there were some things that I didn't like about. Um,
Nice.
yeah, so
Perfect timing.
perfect
Yes.
timing. Yes. Um, so something that our mom, who's another kind of therapist figure in our life, at
Mhm.
least for me, she helped me realize that a lot of what I was talking about in therapy was venting. And it
Mhm.
was nice to get it off my chest and get it out there and talk with someone. But
Mhm.
there wasn't a lot of behavioral changes that
Mhm.
like suggested for me. I'm
Mhm.
really big into needing cognitive behavioral therapy.
Mhm.
So some CBT skills would have been really nice. And that's
Yeah,
something I'm going to look for in the future,
for
either
sure.
by returning to her or looking for a therapist who specializes in CBT.
Mhm.
So that was one thing that my mom kind of helped me realize that I was getting stuff out of therapy, but I
Mhm.
wasn't quite getting exactly what I needed. So
Yeah,
it's
for
really
sure.
observation. Our mom is an accountant, but like she
Yeah.
should have been a therapist.
Our mom has an MBA, but she should have an MFT.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, I mean that's awesome that you were able to kind of come to that conclusion with the help of mom, and I think that a lot of people, myself included, can get stuck in the venting, and then you look at the clock and you only have 5 minutes left, and you
And that's
and
always when the breakthroughs happen. Or,
exactly.
oh, wait, this happened to me. And they're like,
Yeah.
what? You can't
Yeah.
just gloss over that.
I know. I had a therapist who called those doorknob bombs, where you have
Oh,
5 minutes left. You're reaching for the doorknob and you drop this bomb on your therapist, and they're like, "What? Where did that come from? Where
yeah.
was
It's
that
like
for
your
the
brain is
past?"
finally safe enough.
Yeah,
And then you unblock whatever you blocked out for the
yeah,
week.
yeah. I always feel like, for me, you know the little dude from the Wild Thornberries. That's me for the first 45 minutes, and then the last 5 minutes I'm just a straight, like, stoic, ready for catharsis kind of person.
More
um
Nigel than Donnie.
exactly. um well, I mean, it's good that you know what you're going to be looking for in the future in therapy, whether it's with the same therapist or with a new clinician. And I think that, you already have that relationship with your old therapist, so coming to a maintenance session and providing feedback about your past 2.5, 3 years of therapy and saying, hey, look what I'm at now, look what I need now, and trying to, advocate for yourself and say what you need. I think that's
Yeah.
beautiful.
And it's good to remind myself that my time in therapy is always evolving,
Mm-hmm.
and not to be Taylor Swift, but like I've had many eras of therapy.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of been interesting to see how my therapists have seen me through different eras.
Yeah.
And also having this therapist for the past 2-ish years, she's seen me through a lot of different eras. So
Mm-hmm.
um, I think it would be interesting to go back, because she did agree. She's like, usually I don't agree with clients just stopping therapy cold turkey.
Mm-hmm.
But she's like, you're doing great. You're in a good place. And I don't see why that would be a bad thing for you.
For sure. Yeah, that's great. I'm very proud of you, and I'm very happy that you got to that point.
It's been a long time coming.
Mm-hmm. Um, I know that you mentioned CBT, but are there any other modalities of therapy that you have particularly enjoyed or taken interest in? It doesn't even have to be something that you've done with a therapist quite yet, but something that you're interested in.
I love this question, especially as a psych degree holder.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that is, there are a lot of things I like about psych, and my favorite idea in therapy and psych as a whole is attachment theory.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very big on like early childhood experiences,
Mm-hmm.
especially after being a teacher.
Yeah.
Um, I was a kindergarten teacher and fourth grade teacher, for those of
Mm-hmm.
you who do not know. Um,
Spanish speaking.
actually,
You're
yeah,
bilingual.
I
Shout
am
yourself out.
bilingual. I taught at a dual immersion school. So yes, I learned from someone recently that I shouldn't downplay that.
No, you shouldn't. I
No,
mean, it's an incredible skill to have, and I wish that I continued in my Spanish learning experiences like you did, but oh well.
your Spanish learning was more on the practical side of
Yeah,
things in kitchen.
it was it's kitchen Spanish is what I always say. I know how to insult someone, and I know when someone's insulting me.
Precisely. So yeah, but early childhood development is something that I've told multiple people that if I went back to
Mhm.
school and delved back into psychology, that I would be really interested in studying attachment theory,
Mhm.
because I have, I mean, we all self-diagnose and we all diagnose other people,
Mhm.
in our heads, of course.
Mhm.
Um, but it's very interesting. I always put myself in other people's shoes of saying, like, well, why are you acting like this? Oh,
Mhm.
it could be from an experience you had as a child, or the way
Yeah.
you were raised, or interactions you've had with other people.
Mhm.
And also like trauma informed therapy,
Yeah.
super important. So
Yeah. Trauma informed care is an incredible um it's kind of a newly developing aspect of like collaborative care models where you're taking TIC and implementing it in therapy and primary care physicians and ERs and stuff like that. And I
yeah,
think that
I've spoken with there's a nurse. So I currently work at a dance studio, and I get to
mhm,
see anywhere from 18-month-olds to 18-year-olds
mhm,
and their parents as well. And I had a nurse come in the other day, and we just talked about how trauma informed care is entering the medical field,
mhm,
to those kind of providers.
wow,
And even in schools too, I've seen it where like if you are not on board with kind of
mhm,
understanding the traumas that kids can come bring to the table,
yeah,
you're kind of at a disadvantage.
yeah, exactly.
And
And there's a
that's
lot
to be
of
convinced.
mhm, exactly, yeah, and I think that there is a lot of emphasis that needs to be put on trauma when it comes to diagnostic criteria because um, a lot of the symptoms of trauma are found within the same criteria for like conduct disorder or even like antisocial personality disorder
Yeah,
and
ODD. Yeah.
oppositional defiant disorder exactly yeah and the big one is disruptive mood dysregulation disorder as well. There's a lot of overlap between that and ODD.
Mhm.
So knowing about trauma and its presentations is incredibly important. So
Yeah, that's been the key in some of my interactions I've had with former students is knowing their past and not necessarily knowing everything about their trauma, but just knowing there is trauma there.
yeah.
And it kind of, I mean, I treat my students the same in terms of the way I understand them and want to understand them, but knowing that every child is different and the way you approach them needs to be in line with how they work. And that don't work for them is good to know as well.
Yeah, exactly. And coming with that perspective is so important as a teacher, as a clinician, as any kind of provider. So
yeah, I kind of moved out of the classroom and into the dance classroom, and I've even in extracurriculars, like there, like we will see autism spectrum, we will see kids with trauma. We've had all sorts of people walk through the door, and so it's everywhere now. And
it is, yeah. It is everywhere. It's in our personal lives, it's in our occupational lives, it's in our extracurricular lives. So being well informed is important. So that's awesome. The burning question. Do you have any therapy horror stories?
I was hoping you would ask this.
Oh, it's my favorite question so far.
Okay. So disclaimer, I'll say we, I don't want to speak for you, but my grandmother, who is no longer with us, is a big source of a lot of trauma in my life without going into detail. And one time I had a therapist while I was up in Davis, and I am a perfectionist. I've always been a perfectionist, like rule follower. I got on timeout once in my life, and Mrs. Brown put me on timeout, saying, "Rain, rain, go away," out of turn.
Not Mrs. Brown.
I know. We both had the same kindergarten teacher.
We did.
She called dibs on Justin when I was.
Boy, was she in for a treat.
Yes, she was. Anyway, perfectionist, been my whole life. And she kind of boiled everything down to, my therapist boiled it down to, you didn't get the approval of your paternal grandmother, and that is where your perfectionistic tendencies might have stemmed from.
I'm gagged.
I know. Isn't that the worst? When
you know,
just click.
I have a stake in this beyond that of other people. So I have a very different perspective than your therapist might. But even if I did not, even if I didn't have the stake and perspective, I think that is an awful thing for you to hear.
It really was. And it could have just been like, maybe because you didn't get the approval. But I think I blocked out what she said to me, because all I heard and my brain process was, oh, that's why you are the way you are. And that's where I realized my anxiety came from, because I was always sick anytime we went to our grandparents' house, and my stomach always hurt. And I realized later, because I was like, where did my anxiety come from? I was a happy kid. We had a great childhood.
You were a ham growing up. All the home videos prove it.
Yes, the home videos of me singing Britney Spears, like happy, goofy child. I mean, I stole the spotlight from Justin. There's a video of us where my mom's like, Justin, can you say your ABCs? He must have been like 2. And then I jump in front of the camera. I'm like, I can say my ABCs. Yeah. Like the most iconic home video of us.
Yeah. I'm really sorry that you had that experience with that therapist. It sounds very like psychodynamic or psychoanalytical, where someone's,
it was very
helping
Freudian.
You interpret. Yeah, exactly. I hate to say that modality is archaic, but it is old, and it works for some people.
An older therapist, and I have found that.
Were you laying on a couch?
I am laying. Oh no, I was not laying.
Okay.
I am right now with my weighted cow.
Aww.
Doja. um,
Of course.
of
Of
course.
course.
With my weighted cow and my Stella, who's asleep next to me.
Mhm.
I was on a couch actually. It was my in-person therapy session, and I
Okay.
was sitting there, and I just remember sinking into the couch, and the more
Mhm.
she didn't talk as much, but I just don't remember a lot because I kind of blocked it out. I wasn't
Mhm.
ready for
Yeah.
that harsh of a comparison.
Yeah.
So, I
It's
mean, she was a good therapist, and that was actually
yeah.
really helpful in the long run to
Mhm.
kind of work through that.
Mhm.
But she was not the therapist that I worked through that with,
For
if
sure.
that
Yeah.
makes sense.
It sounds like it
Yeah,
might not
after
have
that, I was like, I'm done.
yeah. It might
Done with
not
you.
have come at the right stage
I wasn't
in
ready to hear
therapy.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm sorry that that happened. It's a
that's
bummer.
okay. Part
Um
of my journey.
yeah. It is. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think that something I really admire about therapy is that there's no one size fits all therapist for people, and
Mhm.
we can go shop around for therapists all we want and find someone that works for us. And then sometimes we, start working on things with a therapist and realize that it might not be the way that we want. And we have the option and opportunity to go out and switch.
Exactly. That's kind of where I'm at right now. And
Mm-hmm.
I think I really like your suggestion of like bringing it to my former therapist or my most recent
Mm-hmm.
therapist. Because I mean, I've learned from my teaching program that we're always learning,
Mm-hmm.
and especially like it's why they say practicing medicine. And that's kind of like in teaching too. We're
Mm-hmm.
always updating our practices, and they call it best practice.
Yeah.
I think also in the psychology field,
Mm-hmm.
in counseling. Um, yeah.
Um, well, to end on a happy note, is there anything that you would like to tell the audience about therapy, for someone that might be on the fence on whether or not to go to therapy, whether or not to return to therapy, just something that you think would encourage and possibly educate the audience?
Yeah. I would say therapy has helped me process things that happen to me, but also
Mm-hmm.
things about me.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's something that I'm very open about my diagnoses, and without going into too much detail, I'm still processing one of my diagnoses
Mm-hmm.
because oh, I don't know if I should share it. You can edit this out, but
Yeah, yeah.
um, having bipolar disorder is
Mm-hmm.
something that I am still processing. And
Mm-hmm.
I've been diagnosed with having bipolar 2 disorder
Mm-hmm.
2021.
Mm-hmm.
And I am very open about that. But it's also something that I don't know if it's maybe I'm open about it because I'm afraid of it. And
Mm-hmm.
so taking away the stigma of it is how I'm processing that.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say it's definitely important to seek out therapy, regardless of if you have a diagnosis.
Mm-hmm.
I've recommended therapy to so many people. It's like always in my back pocket of like,
Yeah.
oh, that person would benefit from therapy.
Yeah.
So it's hard not to analyze people,
Mm-hmm.
especially being a psych major.
Yeah.
Um, but it does help me relate to other people as well.
Mm-hmm.
And it's always helpful for me to be open about things like that, because maybe that's the difference between someone seeking help and not.
Mm-hmm.
So
Exactly. Yeah. I think that that is, we can always joke like someone needs therapy, but coming to someone and saying that with the, genuine intent and genuine um, care to that person is completely different. And I think that, you know, we have the same diagnosis. We're both bipolar 2 disorder. And, I had the same experience. I was diagnosed about a year before you.
mhm.
And same thing. It was the moment where I went to go pick up my first prescription, and they told me that they were antipsychotics. And it really it I like the wind got knocked out of me because I didn't know what the future held. And combining psychiatry with psychotherapy was probably one of the most uh, important aspects of processing that for me too. And I agree. I think that, the difference between someone seeking help and not can be so dramatic at either end of the spectrum.
Right.
And approaching those interactions with people with genuine regard is such an important thing. So I really appreciate you sharing your experience.
So there is something very special about our family there's a lot of special things about our family, but something that we all kind of had a part in was based on a Mumford and Sons song called Tim Shell.
Mm-hmm.
It started with, this is my handwriting and it's my little reminder. The song says, "You're not alone in this."
Mm-hmm.
And that was my reminder. I got this the day I turned 21,
Mm-hmm.
and I needed that. And it is something that our family has all adopted, and something that we share with a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's so important. And it's like, you don't need a tattoo to tell you that you're not alone in this.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's my biggest takeaway from therapy, is that you don't have to go through anything alone.
Mm-hmm.
And there are so many people out there that can help you. And it doesn't have to be a therapist. It can be a friend, a family member. But having a professional around is like having that like cherry on top.
Yeah.
So big proponent of therapy.
Yeah, having
and I
someone...
am so proud of you and your journey and I know I'm gonna cry. And you might cry too. But just seeing you step from client to clinician has been so incredible to see, and I am so excited. And you're putting your own flair on it, so snaps for you.
Thank you. I do have a new secret question.
Ooh, okay.
Who's your favorite drag queen? It can't be me. It can't be me.
Well, I was just talking with my boss about Trixie and Katya.
Very nice.
I need to step into the whole world of RuPaul and everything, but I listened to their podcast. Nice. And I was telling my boss about how you have their book and their top figures. And I just wish I could do my makeup like that. I mean, this is the best I got. I've got purple lipstick and some cat eye.
Yeah.
And that was the other thing too, was that when I first found out you were doing this, I was like, dang it, you make up better than I do.
Mine's pretty scuffed today. I don't have eyebrows, and I didn't realize that until like halfway through.
Yeah, it's okay. I heard that's in right now.
Yeah. It is when it's intentional, but I just forgot to do them. They're glued down. They're gone. Yeah.
You live and you learn. But I am so grateful for the opportunity to speak with you today. Yeah. And this is like having a little therapy session myself. It's been a couple weeks since I've been in therapy, and definitely made me miss it. And so I think the journey ahead is going to be a good one, regardless of if I am graduated from therapy or not.
Good. Well, I can't thank you enough for agreeing to come on the show, and thank you for wearing a wig.
Thank you. Beautiful. And my favorite shirt, having a meltdown.
I love it. It's awesome. Are there any questions that you have for me before we end the interview?
Yeah, I wanted to know what your favorite part of your program has been so far.
That's a really good question.
A loaded question, I'm sure. There's probably a lot of facets to it.
Oh, hold on. Zoom just told me that we only have 10 minutes left. Okay, that is a good question. I just submitted my final papers to close out the semester today, so I've been working on those for about a week and a half now, and I think my favorite part so far, which was my least favorite part at the beginning, was in my CBT and brief class, we did a CBT case study on ourselves.
Oh.
So we worked through an automatic thought log where I tracked my thoughts and feelings and emotions, which is the triangle of CBT.
Mhm.
And from that, we worked through finding our core beliefs. And it was a very eye opening experience, and I learned a lot about myself. And even though the paper was only supposed to be 7 pages, it ended up being like 9 for me.
Nice.
And I think that that was a really, really cool experience that not a lot of people get the opportunity to do. So I'm very grateful that I'm in the position as a master's student that gets to do something like that. And then also I took psychopathology and treatment this semester, so I got my big blue DSM-5 TR, and I was able to do a lot of mock diagnostic activities. We called them case vignettes, and my final exam was a diagnostic exercise as well. So it was a really fun going through. We went through pretty much the whole DSM, and
Well, that's awesome.
yeah, it was an incredible class. So that's my favorite so far. I still got 2 more years.
I know. The journey is long, but you're doing
Yeah,
great.
yeah.